As the Young Thug YSL RICO trial entered its third month, the prosecution called one of its primary witnesses, Kenneth Copeland, to the stand. Copeland had previously given a statement to detectives relating to the murder of a rival, Donovan "Big Nutt" Thomas, in 2015, and prosecutors hoped that calling Copeland to the stand would help implicate defendant Jeffrey Young Thug Williams. But things would not go according to the prosecution's plan. Despite his previous statements to investigators, after calling Copeland to the stand, it became clear that he no longer wished to cooperate with the prosecution. Copeland pleaded the fifth even for basic questions, refusing to give prosecutors the information they desired.
And Mr. Copeland, good afternoon. Do you want to be here?
Ma'am?
Do you want to be here?
I'm here.
Okay. Are you going to let me ask you some questions?
Okay.
How old are you?
Grown.
Okay, what does grown mean?
I'm an adult.
Okay. And when you say you're an adult, what number in years are you?
I plead the fifth.
Copeland's decision not to cooperate prompted Judge Ural Glanville to remind Copeland that the government had given Copeland a special kind of immunity called use immunity. With use immunity, prosecutors cannot use any information Copeland supplies during the YSL trial against him in any future trial. In exchange for this, prosecutors expect Copeland to cooperate with them and testify against the other YSL defendants. With Copeland pleading the fifth, Judge Glanville reminded Copeland of his immunity and informed him that if he did not testify, he would be thrown in jail. Copeland continued to refuse to testify and spent the first weekend of June in jail.
Mr. Copeland, given the fact that you have invoked your Fifth Amendment privilege, but the state has already given you immunity under 24-5-507, this court holds you in willful contempt, and we'll see you on Monday. And we'll see if we can get some more testimony at that point in time. Take him into custody.
After spending the weekend in detention, on Monday, June 10, 2024, Copeland was back in court. This is where the trial took an unexpected turn. On Monday morning, Copeland, the prosecutor, and Judge Glanville had a secret meeting in the judge's chambers, after which Copeland emerged ready to testify. Young Thug's defense attorney, Brian Steele, discovered that the judge had conducted the ex parte meeting with the prosecutor and Copeland, which is not usually allowed. Usually, in such important meetings involving a sworn witness, all sides would have the opportunity to be present in order to have their interests represented. Steele called out the ex parte meeting in open court, and the judge confirmed it. Steele demanded to know why he had not been included in the meeting and said the meeting violated the Georgia Constitution. Judge Glanville demanded that Steele disclose how he learned of the meeting. The two argued in court, and Glanville said he would jail Steele for contempt if he did not reveal his source. Steele repeatedly asked the judge to clarify why the defense was not included in the meeting. Judge Glanville refused to answer Steele's question, but instead insisted that the defense disclose how it found out about the meeting. Neither side budged. Judge Glanville ordered Steele jailed.
Take Mr. Steele into custody, please.
Before leaving the court, Steele asked for a motion for mistrial based on the ex parte meeting. Judge Glanville denied and jailed Steele. In a sign of solidarity with his client, Attorney Steele asked if he could serve his jail time with his client, Young Thug, who is also in jail as the trial proceeds. The attorney said that, due to the confinement, he would not be free to properly prepare for the trial, and that if he and his client were jailed together, he could make the best out of a bad situation. Judge Glanville agreed to allow Attorney Steele to serve his 20-day sentence with his client over 10 weekends, allowing him to be free during the week to continue working the YSL RICO case. Despite Judge Glanville's order, Steele will not have to continue serving his sentence, at least for the time being. The Georgia Supreme Court agreed to stay the 20-day jail sentence, pending the outcome of an appeal that Attorney Steele is filing against Judge Glanville's contempt of court ruling. Following the jailing, lawyers for rapper Young Thug filed a motion for Judge Glanville to recuse himself from the case.
My attention, Mr. Weinstein, you filed a motion to recuse me. You filed an affidavit consistent with that.
According to the Oxford Dictionary, in terms of a legal trial, recusal means the withdrawal of a judge, prosecutor, or juror from a case on the grounds that they are unqualified to perform legal duties because of a possible conflict of interest or lack of impartiality. Interestingly, it is not a separate and independent body that decides if the judge must leave the case. Instead, the judge himself reviews the motion to recuse himself and then decides whether he thinks he should step down. Put simply, the judge is judging himself. Judge Glanville argues that though the defense attorneys do not like the rulings he is making, that is not a reason for a judge to remove himself from a case. Glanville argues that in order to have him recuse himself, he would have to have done something extrajudicial, outside of the accepted bounds of the legal process.
I am not at this point in time I've denied the motion, okay?
I believe that's an error, Your Honor.
All right, okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right.
Now back to YSL Woody Copeland and his testimony. Following the drama that resulted in Young Thug's lawyer getting thrown in jail, Woody decided to fire his attorney. But despite her dismissal, Judge Glanville informed her that she must continue to represent Copeland, at least for the time being.
Is it your desire to release your counsel at this point in time?
She fired.
She's fired? Okay. So
Though Copeland was now testifying, he nevertheless insisted that much of his previous communications with investigators included outright lies. This would set up future developments in which prosecutors would seek to impeach Copeland and his testimony, which is when one side of a lawsuit or criminal trial attempts to discredit or undermine the credibility of a witness at trial. Attempting to impeach the other side's witness is common in trials, but it is far less common to try to paint your own witness as untrustworthy. To top the week off, YSL attorney Brian Steele again complained that prosecutors are intimidating witness Copeland by surrounding him as he travels to and from the courtroom after breaks and accompanying him during breaks. Steele argued that the prosecution's conversations with the witness should be documented and shared with the defense, but instead, the defense is only getting drips of information.
Your courtroom, outside your courtroom on breaks, is surrounded by several members of law enforcement with the district attorney's office and prosecutors, potentially other persons. I don't know why a sitting witness under oath is in a room with prosecutors during breaks, mornings, afternoons. It's totally inappropriate.
Steele complained that the situation is creating the worst trial for his client and compares the situation to something that would be seen in a communist country.
Or he's escorted by a DA's office investigator. You see that? This court is observant. You're not just sitting there in a cloud. You see exactly what's going on. You hear the prosecutor tell you, we were in a room with Mr. Copeland and he said these things. Why?
Okay.
Why do I have to bring it up? You should be bringing it up. This is crazy. This is like communist Russia.
In all, it was an eventful week in which the judge, prosecutor, and an important witness conducted an ex parte meeting without the defense's knowledge. The defense learned of the secret ex parte meeting and called it out in court. Young Thug's lawyer was jailed after refusing to disclose his source of information regarding the ex parte meeting. The Georgia Supreme Court later stayed his sentence. YSL attorneys filed a motion for Judge Glanville to recuse himself from the case. Glanville denied the motion on its face. YSL Woody fired his attorney while testifying in court, but Judge Glanville required her to continue representing Woody for the time being. YSL Woody took the stand, but insisted that his previous statements had been false. Attorney Steele again complained in court about improper contact between the prosecution and Woody, going so far as to say that the contact constitutes the kind of witness intimidation seen in communist Russia.